Hey y'all, it's Lippy. I hope your Tuesday's going well. Ours is actually going really good. I don't know if you can see, there's 3 pots there. One's got sliced cucumbers, one's got hot peppers and jalapenos, and the other is some squash that Mr. Eddie brought me that I'm gonna be processing. But I was making sweet pickles. And I was like, oh, I think I promised a couple of y'all. I know Mr. Allen, I promised you that I would make dilly beans. Well, you know that my snap beans, green beans, some people call it, well, Cherokee yellow wax beans. You know all of my green beans. They're starting to fade out, and I said I was going to give them a couple of days. Well, I went out this morning and harvested, I think, about 2 pints worth. And I said, why don't I go ahead and make dilly beans, because the processing time is the same as my sweet pickles. So I'm going to drop the camera. The brine that's in here is for the sweet pickles. And I'll tell you what, if you want the recipe, I'll just leave the recipe in the description for the sweet pickles, but I will be leaving it for the dilly beans. Now, in order to, if you're making a bulk of dilly beans, you'll have to multiply this. I break down my recipe according to how many jars I'm going to be able to get, and this is going to be about 2 pints, okay? And this is optional, but I also harvested 2 cayennes. I put a slit in both of them, and then I cut up just a small sweet onion. That's optional, the peppers and the onions. But I'll drop the camera and I'll show you what I've got in the bottom of these jars, and we'll also talk about the brine. But I decided to do this because the processing is the same as the pickles, and no waste with the green beans. That's what it's all about. Now, I do cut top and bottom. Mine are not uniform. There's not one of them that's uniform. If I had some that was too long, I may have to trim it off, but we'll find out when I start packing. So let's talk about the jar. In each pint jar, and I'm using a wide mouth because it's easier to work with, I've got 1/8 of a teaspoon of pickling crisp. I have a teaspoon of dill seed in each one. This is optional, but I have a 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes in each jar. Mustard seed, that is also optional, but I've got a 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seed in each jar. Now, it's all about just equally distributing the onions, and I like those at the bottom. And like I said, you can omit that. I'm gonna put this through the middle, I think. So I've got them sitting here in just an ice bath after I cleaned them, because that keeps them crisp. But the ice has melted. And the best way I have found is to lay them on the side. And if they're kind of bent up, that's fine too. I'm hoping to get 2 pints. I'm gonna add 1 cayenne pepper down in the middle. Let me get that stem off. There we go. And it's always good to keep a little paring knife here in case you got to do some trimming. I should have just went with a quart jar, but no, I think I'll be fine. I had to cut, well, that's the pepper, 3 ends off, so not too bad. Now, let's get these out of the way. Oops, sorry to reach over you. Now let's talk about the brine. Now I will say, make sure anytime you're doing any preserves, especially vinegar base, you need to stay with stainless steel pots, utensils, spoons, ladles. That is the key, stainless steel, not aluminum. So because I'm estimating these 2, and I'll leave a normal batch recipe in the description for the dilly beans, I went ahead and I estimated. I've got 2 cups of vinegar, 2 cups of water, and that's 5% vinegar. So it's 2 cups of white vinegar. You can use apple cider. We like white. 2 cups of water. I do have a tablespoon of canning salt, pickling salt, and I have a tablespoon of sugar, and that's it. And what that sugar does, it does not make it sweet, but it balances everything. You would be surprised. You're not going to taste any sweet. So that's all it is. Now I'm bringing this up to a hard boil. And then we're going to put them over our jars. I got my brine for my pickles, so I'm trying to multitask and do the video. You will need a debubbler. Y'all have seen me use my chopstick. This is an ivory chopstick, because once I put the brine in and I debubble, I may find a way that I can use, because I've got like 8 green beans left. So we're going to see. I got the brine up to a boil, just enough to dissolve that sugar and canning salt. And now I'm just going to get it over these beans. Ooh, don't breathe this, y'all. Now, if I have brine left, which I will, I'm going to just add it, because remember, it's just vinegar and water, canning salt, and a tablespoon of sugar. I'm just going to add it to my dill pickle brine. It will not affect anything. All it's going to do is add a little bit more brine. Let's see where I'm at. Because I'm looking for about a 1/2 inch headspace. That one looks good. I'm going to give my jars a good white. This is just vinegar. Sopping wet vinegar at that. Kind of went overkill. Now, like I said, y'all have seen me before. I do not put boiling water on my jar, my flats, but I do put them in hot water, straight out the tap. Just finger tight. And I am using my electric pressure canner, because it has a water bath setting. Now, if you're using a standard water bath canner, you've got to bring your water up to a rolling boil before your time starts, and it's going to water bath 15 minutes. So that's why I added the dilly beans to my pickles, because both of them are 15 minutes. So I just wanted to make sure that y'all knew to start your timer. Once it reaches a rolling boil, you're going to need 1 inch to 1.5 inches of headspace of water above your jars. If not, you're not going to get a correct processing. So make sure that water is 1 inch to 1.5 inches above your jars. Start your timer after it reaches the rapid boil. I'm using my electric pressure canner for the manual water bath setting. Guys, I'm loving this. And it holds 7 wide mouth pints. So, I mean, you know, it couldn't be perfect. So this allows me now to start working on some dill pickles, and those are going to be spicy. So let's see, what do we have? We have sweet relish, bread and butter. We have dill, but not spicy. I still have dill relish, spicy, dill to do, and this is sweet pickles. So yeah, my pantry's almost done as far as the pickles and the relish. We have 3 minutes left on the water bath canner. Kitchen's cleaned up. Boys are eating, what do you got? Cucumbers, a good cold cucumber dipped in ranch as their snacks. So they're tended to. They just had to each get a shower. Because, yeah, y'all know we have that big mud hole. And you know, they just accidentally fell in and said that one pushed this one and that one pushed that one. Y'all heard it, boys. But I wanted to sit down and talk with y'all. The last time we did a video was Sunday morning, matter of fact. We didn't mention Saturday evening. How do you get a cucumber seed on the back of your neck? And you see I'm not cutting this out. Saturday evening we noticed, our buddy noticed that the unit was freezing up. So we called the AC company that just put this unit in 13 months ago. Yeah, 14 months ago. Well, the gentleman didn't come out till yesterday to inform us. Now, we were able to run the fan, let it thaw, and it would cool back off. Well, him and another fella come out, went up in the attic to find out that the A coil has to be replaced. So he juiced the unit up and did something so we could have some AC. We just can't run it too cold, kind of like we like it, but we can get by with it in fans for the next 2 weeks because they're going to have to order the A coils. And this is what he said. He says, well, Lennox is known for bad A coils. So why would you sell me a Lennox brand if you already knew that they have failure with the A coils? Now, mind you, it's under warranty, but it still costs us $100 what they call a service fee. Everything's covered, but the service fee. Okay, that was the dinger letting me know that it's done processing, water bathing, and now it's starting to cool down. So we said, okay, we'll manage. Well, Sunday night, we had rain come in. But what we didn't know through the night was a windstorm. Obviously, there had to be some hail in it because it was the way the holes are in the leaves. But we know it was Sunday night, yes, because yesterday was Monday. Buddy was off yesterday. We got up, went to the garden. I did at daylight. He walked out. For us to find every dahlia was completely snapped in two. Pepper plants snapped in two. Tomato plants snapped off on the sides. I'm trying to think. All the zinnias laid over. They're still laid over. I don't know if they're going to come back up. So it took us 3 hours yesterday. Say hello. It took us 3 hours yesterday to clean up the damage, so you can tell it was wind because the way everything had snapped in the direction it was going. So it obviously came from the west. Everything was laying to the east, just laid over. We were sick, just sick. So we did a lot of stringing, a lot of cutting. I mean, y'all, some of the pepper plants had little peppers on them, full of blooms, tomatoes. But I mean, it took parts of it off. So all we can do is baby those and, hope that none of them, die because we had to do some major trimming, clipping, and all of that. So yeah, that's what we woke up to yesterday morning. But the reason why he was also off, and I'm going to ask for your prayers, is his mom was put into the hospital. She's a diabetic. They wasn't sure if they were going to have to remove a toe, possibly a foot. She's on a lot of antibiotics, but according to what Bud said when he went to the hospital yesterday, that the doctor said it looks like all the antibiotics is working, and for right now, there will be no surgery, praise God. But keep her in your prayers because she has a recovery to do. But yeah, that's what has happened since Saturday. AC, Sunday night, heck of a storm, and just standing in water. And then his mom. Well, last night wasn't supposed to be any rain in the forecast. Well, looks like they didn't know what they were talking about because we were loaded in rain. We woke up to just gully washers. So when we saw all the gully washers, we realized that the work that we're having done here, Mr. Larry, amazing man, has a tractor. He was able to take down one cedar tree. The other cedar tree, the power company is taking it down. But Mr. Larry was able to take down the cedar tree.
Yeah, and I told Mama, Mr. Larry, she didn't think about this. Mr. Larry can just come scoop all the branches up because they thought that they had to just scoop it all up themselves.
What he's saying is, but we already knew. Mr. Larry was going to come back, but with all the rain he can. He's going to actually move the tree to the back for Bud to trim up and keep the main base. He also had a pond dug, I guess about a year ago. And it's a lot of red clay, which is what we need right now. 1, 2, 3 of the 4 koi ponds or whatever that was here. He brought enough dirt to fill them in with red clay. He has 2 of them, but he dumped the dirt, but wasn't able to come back because of the rain. But we're going to have those all smoothed down. And all this happened Sunday morning because Mr. Larry's walking, and Buddy went out there to talk to him at the street, drink some coffee, and visit, you know, and that's what we do in this neighborhood. We just, you know, a lot of walkers and golf cart riders, and so we just visit. He said, well, I'm not doing nothing today, Bud. Why don't we do this, this, this? So we had a quick change of plan. But when it's all said and done, 3 of the koi ponds will be filled, and then all we have to do then is come back later with some topsoil. The front one, you know, we're not filling it because we hope to have it dug out into a small pond eventually. So, you know, God was good. You know, even though, you know, the AC, even though the storm came and made us sick with all the work that we've done in the garden, that too shall pass. But here shows up Mr. Larry. Hey. So even though there's darkness, there's always light right around the corner. But that's why y'all haven't seen me since Sunday, because a lot's been happening. But I'm going to drink the coffee, tend to the boys. As soon as the dilly beans come out, I'll show them to you. And then I've got 2 more batches of pickles to make. And supper tonight is going to be with those squash. It's in the zucchini family. They're big, and I'll show them to you. And I was like, how about we have stuffed squash? So I've got some ground pork laid out. I'll cook some rice, take the stuffing of the squash out, blend it together. I think I do have a stuffed squash recipe, so I'm going to do it kind of the same way. I've got 2 breakfast sausage patties that's thawing, so I'll brown it to give it a little bit of flavor profile. So we're going to have stuffed zucchini tonight. You don't get any better than that. And we got 2 red tomatoes, so we're going to slice those. So God is good. I'll meet you back in the kitchen when the dilly beans come out. Oh, you heard it pop? Aren't they gorgeous? So there you go, my dilly beans. And like I said, I'll leave that recipe in the description. And also, if you want just to try the sweet pickles that I do, I'm looking at them over there. I will leave that in the description as well. So, I don't know when I'll see you again. Tomorrow, the boys go home. I have a lot of blending to do. So, we're going to shoot for something Thursday. We'll do something in the kitchen. Yeah, not much to do in the garden. Just look at it and pray on it. And that's all we can do. But as always, stay safe, stay well, and God bless. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye, y'all.